down. They're clearly looking for somebody, and then as soon as that person gets in, they will hoist that person up. As a rule, the people who are taken up in the baskets are fairly immobile. And here it is. Here we go. This is the first rescue mission we've seen since we've been live with you, Shep. It's a child and her mom, right? Over and over again. Can you imagine being a child like this? This breaks your heart. You know, 9 or 10 years old, and she should be at school today, right? School started on Monday, and she should be in school today, and instead she's being hoisted up in a Black Hawk helicopter basket with her mom because their lives were clearly at risk. And it kind of gives you an idea of what we're dealing with here. She's crying. Her mom is clearly crying. I mean, this is one of those heartbreaking, heart-rending situations where, you know, we apparently are going to send the basket back down for possibly other members of their family. But we have seen this play out again and again and again. And she's crying. And Eric's trying to talk to her. And though her dog is down there, Shep, so that's what they're saying. She said, my dog, you got to get my dog. So they're going to send the basket back down, and someone's going to put their dog back on that thing. And her little girl, they look to be safe, so, you know, cross your fingers that works out, but now they want the dog. And again, I look around here because there are no boats. They're going for the dog. Yeah, Eric says they're going for the dog. There are no boats, so, you know, this is it. We're it. And you look over, and there's got to be somebody down there to put the dog in the basket and lift the dog back up here. But this is what it's all about. Everything they own is inside their house, and they're not going to be able to go back to it for quite some time. And so, you know, they get the children out, they get the dog out, they go to a shelter, or they go to a hospital, and they wait for someone to come and call their name and say, you know, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, your house is this position, and it's going to be this long before you can go back. And many of these people can't afford hotels, so they stay in these shelters for days and days and days with no word. And some have relatives they can stay with, and some don't. But this is a scenario that plays out again and again. And they're trying to kind of guide the person. They're trying to guide them and say, look, send the dog out, push the dog out. Don't put it there. See, this guy right here is Mr. Tolley is trying to say, come on, guys, put the dog in there. So this is one of those situations, Shep, where you think, okay, these guys are risking their lives and, you know, and the lives of others to get this dog and to get these family members safe to shore. Yep.
That's a family, Trace. I know how you and your kids and your wife and pets are. The heartbreaking scenes of little children who were, after New Orleans, who were separated from their fathers sometimes. Mom and children went away. They had to leave their animals behind. And then people all over the country took in rescue animals from Katrina. Families never got reunited, but in this case, they're keeping families together, including their pets. And I guarantee you it's going to change a lot of kids' life, because it's the level of trauma from a kid being separated from his or her pet, hard to even enunciate.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, Chef, is these kids, I mean, you know, this little girl's over here crying, and we're trying not to show her on camera, but you see they pulled up another, her son is here, and the suitcase, and now they're going to have to go back down and get the dog, but they grab as much as they can, and they're on the roof, and it's the same for him. He doesn't know. He doesn't know, you know, he doesn't know what's going on.
Look at that
pup,
Trace.
He knows that his mom and his sister are safe.
Oh,
the dog is there. Oh, shoot, there it is.
Oh, look at that little girl.
Oh, yeah, the dog was in the basket. Oh, that's...
We got the whole family together, I hope.
You know, I don't know. Let me just find out here. We're trying to get him. Is anybody else down there? Your dad's down there. So his dad's down there. So they're going to try and get his dad right now. So the dad, clearly, you know, that's the way it is. The dad's the last one to go up.
Amen.
And the dad put the kids and the mom in the basket, the dog and the son. And now, as the kid looked at me and he said, I said, is anybody else down there? He says, yeah, my dad. So, you know, they're going to send this back down, and they're going to get the dad, bring the dad up here. And then this family looks healthy, Shep. They look healthy. They're clearly heartbroken. They're clearly in a very bad situation, but in about 2 minutes, they're going to be together, and they're going to go to the same shelter. And, you know, for the work of these volunteers, it has been at least, you know, a safe ending for this family. The mom just made the sign of the cross, and she said, you know, I got to tell you, it's loud. It is loud. It is loud. And for the young girl, she's crying, and you know, I have daughters the same age, and it's tough. You know, tough to be in this kind of position. But man, oh man, what a rescue. What a job these guys have done, Chuck. And here's Dad.
All smiles.
Yeah, all smiles, a few tears. You know, we saw a lot of families come in. We saw a 90-year-old woman come in earlier, and they had to get a wheelchair and bring her in, and she reached her hand up to one of the state troopers who was riding along, and she said, God bless you. So there's, you know, there's some very, very happy people, very sad because of the circumstances, but very happy that, you know, that the volunteers and the teams have come together to be able to take them out of harm's way. And, you know, like people have said, it's just stuff. You know, it's just stuff. They lose the house, and it's awful, but at least they're together. You know, they're alive and they're together, and that's the important thing. And then they look to rebuild down the road. And who knows if they have insurance? Who knows what their life situation is? But, you know, it is this scenario playing out in Black Hawk after Black Hawk, in neighborhood after neighborhood, all across Beaumont, all across Port Arthur, 170,000 people, and very few, I mean, you know, very few were not affected by it. Very few. We saw very few homes in all of those areas that did not have at least some flooding. Jeff.
Tracer, the Twitter is alive watching this. Olivia Walton says, Trace, your coverage has been great, heartfelt and caring for the people and the pets. Thank you. Amy Ramey says, please send this family to us. We will take them in and care for them. Excellent coverage. Good job, Trace. But you know, the real kudos, man, Trace, the real kudos to these men and women of the National Guard and the rest of the rescuers who've been in these choppers, as you say, all day long, saving people's lives. There is no way to thank them enough.
No, there is no way to thank them enough. And these guys,
quivering.
You know, these guys are excited about this. I mean, they're excited about this. They absolutely love doing this. Every time they see these families' eyes light up, every time they bring someone to safety, they love it. I was just talking to these guys earlier, and they're saying, you know, man, we wish we could go all night, but we can't. We can't risk the danger of flying at night because of the wires and because of the obstacles. But they're out at daybreak, and they will work until dusk trying to get these people, to make sure that nobody else is left behind. And right now they're going to land this family on a freeway, and they've already worked the deal out to call ahead. This family will then be picked up and taken away by somebody else. And I'm sure this family appreciates the offer of the adoption from that family you mentioned, Shep. But, you know, they look to be intact and whole, and they got the dog and we got the kids, and, you know, at the end they're going to be just fine.